guess I should take one of these out. Sharper Tarot, welcome in. Of course you can have a tarot card reading. And Mr. Subin, of course you can. Welcome in, guys. Just give me a sec. I want to share this stream out to one of my favorite groups. As soon as something happens. It says over here that I'm live. But like, am I really? Because over here it's not showing up. It says I was live. Nothing in the present. Okay, here we go. Midnight Rain, good morning. How am I doing? I'm doing good, thanks for asking. How are you? So what are these cards here? 4 of Cups in reverse, 8 of Cups and 8 of Swords. What is that saying? Immediately I feel like emotional reaction, feeling very reactive to the people around me. Not taking constructive action, but rather reacting to emotional input. In the present, we've got an 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups is about re-establishing balance in the emotional being and the creative self. Balance between the emotional output and creative output. You know, we fuel our creativity with our emotional energy, and like when you draw, it's usually a feeling. When you make music, it's about the feeling. So coming from a space of reactivity, reacting to like negative influences, anything that would be changing in the environment that's like feels like interference, and then reacting to it instead of doing something constructive and creative. In the present, re-establishing balance over that. And future 8 of Swords, that's in reverse. I feel like that is talking about not being ready to let go of certain thought patterns that led to this 4 of Cups in reverse in the first place. Like entertaining certain ideas or certain thought patterns that justify this reactivity over here. It's like not really being ready to let go of those thoughts or those habits or those ideas. Hey Mitch S, how you doing? You're well, Midnight? Just a little tired from being up so long yesterday. Thank you for asking. Oh, you were up late last night? Me too. Okay, so I want to share this to my public wall, and I want to share it to a certain group. To create a little caption. here. Join me for free 1-card readings with the Thought Tarot. That's good enough. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. Just a little call to action. And that should be enough. Cool. You got a federal background check done yesterday to get another endorsement for trucking, so hoping that I might haul fuel or petrol and get paid more. Oh, nice. Mitch says, also up really late. The moon, I wonder. Definitely to do with the moon. For near 24 hours to run a lot of errands. Okay, I see. Okay, so the first one to request a reading. Let me just check. Harrow Tarot tip. It's been a while since we harrowed the tarot. First one to request a reading was Sharper Tarot. Are you still here? Because I will draw a card for you, and then a card for Mr. Subin, and and then anybody else who would like a reading can just ask for one. Of course you can have one, Midnight. Sharper Tarot is here, fantastic. Glad to hear that you're sticking around. Thank you for your patience. Do you have a question, or should I just like draw a card and read it generally, intuitively, generally? I've got the 6 of Swords for you. Sharper Tarot. Do you have a channel on YouTube? I'll check you out later. 6. The number of 6 is like when you're learning from other people's examples, breaking through the limitations of your paradigm. It's like when you're in 5, you're doing the best that you can with what you understand about the universe and what's been taught to you. When you get to 6, you are interacting with other people and you're like learning from their example, their worldview and their beliefs and their knowledge. Swords is specifically to do with the realm of the mind, so that's intellect, ideas, education, knowledge. So it's like transferring skills is what I get from this. Is like you've been working on whatever it is that you do. Maybe you're researching topics, maybe you're taking classes, maybe you're learning about the tarot. I'm not sure what exactly you're learning about, but whatever it is that you're learning about, you've been doing the best that you can with your knowledge. And now you're meeting new people, you're interacting with people in groups, online particularly, Swords, very much to do with communication. So I feel like online specifically, so like digital communications, and their knowledge is influencing you. So like you're getting new ideas, you're overcoming previous limitations you had, expanding, evolving as a result of relationships, as a result of new connections. I see you asked the question, what's going on with you? You're having so many changes. So I feel like this card is answering that directly. It's like saying all of these changes that you're going through are good. They're expansive. It's like moving you outwards towards new things, greater than before. And this is happening because you've opened the door to new connections, and you're reconnecting with old relationships as well. You're like remembered, oh yeah, that guy knew what he was doing. Let me chat with him and ask him about this question. I don't know, just an example. All in all, it's saying that for a long time you were stuck behind like a limit. You had like these limiting beliefs, limited amounts of knowledge or experience, and those limits were placed there by your beliefs, and now you're interacting, opening the doorway to new connections, just giving permission, giving yourself permission to learn from others, even if they don't know as much as you. You know, everyone has their own piece of the puzzle, and so like you're giving other people the piece of the puzzle they've been missing, and they're giving you pieces of the puzzle that you've been missing, and everybody involved is evolving, overcoming their limitations from before. I hope that like I don't know, helps you understand what's going on. Oh, geez. I hope it helps you understand what's going on for you. Network is bad, as usual. What I meant was, in true Mercury retrograde, you could use those words in your thumbnail. Okay, I see. I see. But sure, what comes up, comes out. If you feel so inclined today, my good man, amazing. Cool, Mitch. Definitely will put you in there. So on the note of the Mercury retrograde, you know, people are always talking about what you shouldn't be doing during Mercury retrograde, like don't start new projects, don't this, don't that, communications will be bad, expect disruptions in commuting and whatever. But they never talk to you about what it's actually good for, you know. Mercury retrograde is a time where Mercury is really doing his job. Like when he's traveling in his normal trajectory, he's taking our dreams, our prayers, our thoughts and our spells, and he's delivering them to source. When he's in retrograde, he's taking thoughts and ideas and intentions from source and bringing it to us. So this is a good time. During retrograde is a good time to like call out bullshit. It's a good time to call out scams. It's a good time to return products if you've bought something and it's not working for you for whatever reason and you want to return it. It's a good time to return it. It's a good time to confront abusers. It's, yeah. There are some perks to the Mercury retrograde if you play your cards right. Okay, so Mr. Subin was next, right? Loved your sigil reads too. Please, when you have time and energy, would appreciate it immensely, and the accompanying affirmations. Oh, you want a spell. So, as you've seen, I've been changing the way I do things. I opened the members only section of Discord. So basically what I'm doing there is I'm moving all of those other things I used to do, like water scrying and spell casting. All of that stuff is now reserved for members. Group ritual, all that kind of thing. Advanced in-depth tarot readings, all of that stuff is now for members only. So I will occasionally give away a free reading, a free spell. Excuse me a moment. Welcome in, Horse-Drawn Portrait. I'll put you in the queue for sure. And Sweetheart, thank you for joining. Welcome in. Definitely will put you in the queue. And yeah, then back to what I was saying. I will occasionally do free spells for you guys. So Mitch, just cross fingers. I'm sure eventually we'll get a spell for you. Otherwise, you're welcome to join the membership program. It's like $400, $25, and it's valid for a month. And you'll get access to classes that I do, as well as 6 card readings, as well as all sorts of stuff. You can check the Discord server for more info. And that's !Discord for the link. So I'm just trying to orient myself because it's been a while since I've had a busy chat. So this is Mr. Subin's reading. Mr. Subin is always looking for general cards, so I'm just going to do general cards for Mr. Subin. Hopefully that's good. So the universe card turned itself over for you, Mr. Subin. This is number 21. So this card primarily talks to me about self-awareness, being aware of both your strengths, like the God form within you, being aware of your spirit, and also aware of your shadow. And the shadow is the parts of yourself that you suppress, as well as the parts of yourself that are self-sabotaging. I think we've spoken about this card before, like when it comes up in reverse, it's like you try and take action, but there are yourself is an obstacle, like your own procrastination or addictive habits or whatever it is, some aspect of the shadow self gets in the way of whatever it is you try and manifest. So the universe card is about manifesting what is on the inside, what's in your mind, bringing it into the physical world around you. So this card is kind of saying to you that in the present, there is nothing besides yourself to hinder you. And you are fully aware of what those aspects of yourself are. You're fully aware of your procrastination habits. You're fully aware of all of your bad habits, as well as your good habits that are your strengths that help you manifest. So whatever you've got in your mind here, you're busy taking action to create it, and you're working around whatever those things are. Like an example I often use for this card is me sitting down to write an article and then getting distracted by social media and spending the whole day on social media instead of writing that article. So that's like an attention deficiency. That, like here we've got a serpent, we've got the star goddess, and she's dancing with a serpent. So the serpent wants to restrict her, but she dances out of its way, and there's like an eye in the corner, and the eye shines light on the serpent. So that eye is like perception, self-awareness. Being aware of the serpent gives you authority over it. It can't restrict you because you can move out of its way. Let's see if I dissect these symbols a bit further. So then with that example of the social media distracting me, what I can do, what this card would suggest that I do in that situation, is that I take all social media off the device where I write. So I'll have a cell phone for social media, or I'll have a laptop for social media, and I'll use my desktop only for writing. So separate them, or create different user profiles. One is for video editing, one is for writing, one is for social media, so that I can keep those spheres separate so they don't interfere with each other. Good afternoon, Psyches, welcome in. It's been a while, good to see you. I hope that is resonant with you, Mr. Subin. So Mitch, I'm going to read for you next, eh? And then for Midnight. Knight of Discs. So the Knight is all about rebirth, new beginnings, new life. In this card, the Knight is on his horse. The horse is looking backwards, like the Knight is looking up towards this mountain that's in front of him, and his horse is looking down. There's lots of ripe ears of wheat on the ground, so like the horse is interested in eating the wheat. But the Knight is focused on this obstacle in front of him still. He's got his shield drawn as if he's like protecting himself and his horse. He carries a blunt weapon, so he has no interest in doing harm, you know. His weapon is blunt. It's like for emergency self-defense, like monk style. So these symbols, basically it's talking about your physical world primarily, rebirth in your physical world. Old investments, old seeds that have been sown they've come around, and like you are in a position to harvest, you're in a position to eat of those ears of wheat, the harvest, the returns. So that could be time and energy that you've invested into your career. You now got the recognition you were looking for. That's an example. Another one is like maybe you sold some property, or you bought some property and then sold it, you made a profit. It's talking about the cycle coming to a close, but that doesn't mean that all of your problems are solved. There's still a hill in front of you. You've still got an uphill climb ahead of you, and you're taking it seriously. You're considering it with severity. Even though you are reaping your harvest right now, you're not forgetting about the mountain that's still in front of you. You've got a little bit of level ground right now, but you know that it's still uphill from here, and determined kinds of energy. So this card also wants to say to you that whatever Like, not only are there good things coming into the space, not only, like, when we set things in motion, we make investments of time and energy, sometimes there are losses, sometimes intentions that we set in motion are not necessarily healthy, and they come back around to us, and we experience the pain of it, we experience the downfall of it. So not only are there good things coming back into the space here with this card, but there are also some things that you could do without, you'd prefer if they weren't there. But all of these things that are coming to a close now, whether for better or worse, it's all bringing you closer to better authenticity. Like, here's an example. Say you have been transferred from one department to another at work. That's a good example that this card could be talking about. So maybe that transfer happened as a result of you, I don't know, having like a physical confrontation with someone else in the workplace, a little bit of a heated discussion that might have gotten a little bit physical, and instead of getting fired, they just transferred you. So that transfer, even though it might feel like a death, it's actually bringing you into a more authentic position. It's bringing you whatever the changes are going to be now as a result of this transfer. It's going to be in your interest. You're going to find yourself in a more authentic workspace, a place where you can express yourself better and receive better recognition. So all in all, what this card is saying that you are stepping into a period of more authenticity. So you're reaping rewards. You're also seeing backtracking the negative effects of your input and the positive effects of your input, but all of it together, all in all, it's bringing you into greater authenticity. Everything that is in your highest good and in the good of all, well, you're asking for it, it's what you're getting. And that's specifically to do with your health and your finances and your home space. So midnight is up next. Did you have a question, Midnight? Or should I just read? You're welcome, Mitch. I hope you can see all of those things in your space. Like, I can definitely see it in my space. Like, a couple of my pigs gave birth. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things where I can see it. General reading for Midnight. So I heard a song yesterday that was called Midnight Love. I don't remember the lyrics, but like it was playing. I don't even remember who it was by. It's a 9 of discs in reverse. So 9 is about self-responsibility. It's about self-reflection and taking responsibility. The card in reverse, this is implying that you, in the present, you are tending to put the responsibility outside of yourself. Blaming circumstance, blaming people in your life, blaming systems, anything besides yourself. Oh, it's because of this reason that I haven't got a job, or it's because of this that I can't get up and go to that interview, or it's because of this or that or that. Putting all of the responsibility outside of yourself. That's what this card is talking about here. And it's warning you. It's saying that you find yourself in the present here where you don't have a job and you're struggling to get by. You find yourself in the present here because of things that you did. Yes, there are environmental influences. There are people who are guilt tripping you. There is abuse in the workplace. Yes, all of those things are there, but it was decisions that you made, and it was choices you made. that brought you into this current place of unemployment. So it's just warning you that if you don't look at your own part to play, then you will repeat this mistake. You'll get a new job, sure. You'll get a new job, you will succeed within it for a little while, and then you'll repeat these decisions. This course of action that brought you to where you are now will be repeated. Unless you can take responsibility for your part to play, then you can avoid it in the future. But if you don't, if you put all that blame outward, then you open yourself up to repeat the same pattern that brings you back into this place. So 9 of discs, it's basically loss. It's literally, when it's in reverse, it's talking about loss. When it's the right way around, it's gain. So it's saying that you are losing out here by putting by looking into the world around you and being, the world around me is responsible for my present circumstances. Instead of I am inwardly responsible for my present circumstances, you lose out with that mentality. It's saying that you're going to miss out on a lot of value that's in your present and in the future unless you can see your own part to play. That's what the 9 of discs is saying. And it's not only talking about your finances and your work situation, it's also talking about your romantic situation, your relationship situation. Discs is to do with physical partnerships as well as to do with finances and work and security. So horse-drawn portrait is up next. You still here, bro? I see it in your aura too, says Mitch. Amazing. Thank you. I assume we're talking about like the Knight of Discs energy, the rebirth. Rebirths. Deaths and rebirths. Okay, so you're welcome to ask a question at any time, horse-drawn portrait, but I'm just going to go ahead and pull one of these cards out of the deck. Oh, or the deck is going to spit one out. The Mages. He's reversed here. So the Mages, as we know, is like literally Mercury. It's all about communication and communication. Sweetheart is no longer here. Okay. You want to know how to handle your new situation, your new work situation. So this Mage's card in reverse here, it's just talking about miscommunication or lack of communication. Omission. Things that are important to be communicating in the workspace with your colleagues, with your boss, whatever it might be, are not being communicated. Instead, things that are not important or things that are of a low priority are being pursued. So if I'm imagining an office work situation, right? I'm imagining like data capturing, a company where they collect data from receipts for whatever reason, and there are some serious flaws in the way that they handle their data, but they're not addressing those flaws. Instead, they are following all sorts of, they're coming up with issues to work on instead of focusing on issues that are actually important. That's a terrible example. Let me think of a better one. Okay, if I think about it in relationship situations. So my partner is doing things like not taking responsibility, not making beds, not cooking, not cleaning, not helping with anything. This is an example. My partner is actually very helpful, but here's an example. And I am seeing this create problems, but I'm not addressing them. I'm not saying to her, hey, look here, I see underneath the surface you are depressed, or you are you're neglecting your self-care and you're not taking any kind of responsibility here. I can see that this is rooted in X, Y, and Z trauma or whatever, but instead I'm like, hey, let's start a new project, or let's go take a walk, or anything, dancing around it, looking for anything else to do except address the actual problem at the core. That's the kind of energy that I'm getting from this mages here. So specifically with regards to your work situation, this card is saying to go straight to the point. Everybody in the workspace is like very keen to talk about mundane shit, mundane topics, or you know that there are certain issues that need to be addressed and no one else is talking about it. You need to be the one to dive into it and talk about it and put it on the table. And so earlier we were talking about Mercury retrograde, not a good time to start new projects. So exactly, anything that anyone is trying to set in motion now during this retrograde, not a good idea. Instead, Mercury retrograde is the time to address issues that have always been there, address bullshit that has been there, address abuse that has been there. Anything that needs to be addressed, it's time now to address it, not time to pursue new ends or start new projects. And that's what the Magus is saying for you, Horse-Drawn Portrait. That's right, Midnight. That's exactly right. I'm doing 1 card readings for free. A tip of any size will get you 3 cards. And if you join the membership program, you will get 1 6-card reading per week, in addition to anything else. Free readings and 3-card paid readings. Membership also comes with all kinds of other perks, like access to group rituals and ceremony, access to classes, Psyches wants to join. Okay, Psyches, I think you're next. Sweetheart seems to have left, according to Midnight. So Sweetheart, if you're here, I can still read for you, but otherwise I'm moving on to Psyches. You're welcome, Horse-Drawn Portrait. I hope that it was valuable. 3 cards of what? Any amount. Sending any amount as a tip will get you 3 cards. Alternatively, you can also join the membership program, which is $25. It's valid for a month, and that'll give you 1 6-card reading per week, as well as many other benefits and perks and premium content in the Discord server. Classes, group ceremony, all of that sort of thing. You can type !VIP. Oh, I'm disconnected again. Network is not stable at all. It's very, very bad. Okay. I'm gonna pull a card out for Psyches now. I recorded a dope ass track the other day. Put it all together, and I've been like listening to it on repeat. I haven't exported the file, it's all like fragments that have been put together in an Audacity project. The Fool, Psyches, I've got the Fool for you. So the Fool, he is breaking cycles, stepping into a new karmic journey, new karmic period. There is a tiger biting him on the leg. The tiger represents fear. There are rings around him. Each ring has a symbol: caterpillar, butterfly, dove. These are symbols of transformation and freedom. and the circles are the different periods. So it's like you have stepped into a journey of transformation now. When the Fool is in reverse, it's like we don't want to let go of old cycles and old patterns. We want to continue perpetuating the same habits. You know, if we're in a relationship and the relationship is abusive, then we break up and we get into a new relationship that's exactly the same because we follow the same habits as before. We tried to do a Fool, stepping into a new journey, but we end up perpetuating the same cycle. But over here with the Fool the right way around, it's like you're making the little changes that are necessary, surrounding yourself with new friend circles, making small changes here and there that create new cycles in the future, cycles of transformation. Starting out as a caterpillar, quite a helpless little worm, but in the next journey, in the next cycle, you're a butterfly, and in the next cycle you're reaping harvest, you're reaping grapes. In the next cycle you are soaring free like a dove. The Fool is leaping forward despite the fact that the tiger is biting him. So you've got nervous energy. There's nervous energy surrounding this new journey, this new thing you're starting, these patterns that you're breaking. There's some fear of uncertainty. Also, there are a lot of people around you who seem to have it all together, who seem to know what they're doing, and that can be a little bit intimidating. So it like kind of brings out this silly attitude in you, like where you say silly things or be silly. It kind of like you're trying to hide or mask your insecurities with humor. That's the energy of the Fool. Because you're just starting something that other people have been doing for a while already. All in all, this card is talking about, it's talking about hope for you. It's saying that you might be a caterpillar right now, but very soon, you'll transform. Very soon you'll transform and you'll reap the rewards of everything that you're setting in motion now. And every time that you step out of your comfort zone, so every time that you do something that makes your heart race, you're breaking the old cycles. And that's your card. Oh my god, how do you do this? You blow my mind every time. Sorry, not sorry. That's exactly what you do, always humor. So what is up next? Yes, my favorite bitches is back. Hi, Queenie. Welcome back in, Serenity of Soul. Hope you've been doing well. I'm glad to hear that my tarot reading is as sharp as a knife. Still as sharp as a knife. So that's the end of my queue. Serenity of Soul, do you want a card? I do one card readings now. You can send a tip for 3 cards or more. Well, 3 cards. Any amount. Tipping any amount will get 3 cards. Members get 6 cards. So yeah, I've launched a membership program. You can check it out on my Discord server. You can type !VIP or !Discord to find out more about that. Okay, so you can also ask me a question now, or it doesn't really matter. 10 of Cups. I'm on a journey after losing my husband nearly 12 months ago. I'm now finding myself and who I am and making changes. Pausing to contemplate the magnitude of what you just shared, Psyches. I'm sorry for your loss. finding yourself and who you are, making the changes, breaking the patterns. Beautiful. So I've got a 10 of Cups for Serenity of Soul. That's the card that I just drew. So 10 is about completion. It's Cups is about emotion. So it's like what is it like? A lot of good feelings come into the surface, like expressing themselves in their fullness, their final expression. That's what 10 of Cups is. It's like the final expression of all of the emotions that you've been carrying for a while. Certain actions, certain words, certain projects, certain interactions and relationships, they all set in motion different feelings in your body, and that builds up and it carries through, and it goes from the numbers 1. 1 is where you have the interaction and you feel the emotion. Then it goes 2, 3, 4. It goes through the whole cycle, the whole court, until it reaches 10, which is its final expression. So you're talking about a family member here, all these years, all these months, one way or another. It's like when you last spoke to them, all kinds of feelings were set in motion for both of you. All kinds of emotional experiences were set in motion for both of you, positive and negative. Feelings of like aggression, feelings of sorrow, feelings of liberation, feeling liberated from a toxic experience or a toxic relationship. There were both positive and negative emotions that were attached to that relationship. And right now, like the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks, those feelings are resurfacing. They're giving their final expression. They're not going to come back again. And this, what you're going through, is its final expression. So you're experiencing it. That family member is also experiencing it. It might be intense enough that they reach out to you. It might be intense enough that you reach out to them. But whether or not you recontact, this is the last time you're going to feel all of these feelings. It's the last time it's going to well up like this. You will be setting a new cups in motion, new cups, new feelings, new relationships will be set in motion from here on out. This is the final expression of that relationship. So you're asking, will they contact you? Well, the cards are saying that they're feeling a lot of things and it makes them want to contact you, just like you're here asking me about them. You're feeling a lot of things that have brought you to think about them, that brought you to talk about them. It might be enough to drive you to contact them, but it might also, you might not. So it's saying chances are high, but it's not an absolute certainty. And thank you for all of your recognition. A pioneer for tarot reading on Twitch and on other platforms. That's cool. The ultimate tarot reading legend. All the patronization and what's the other word? Flattery. I like it. Azura is singing. Yes, actually, she is singing. She's rehearsing for a competition. Okay, so that's the end of my cue. So then I'm gonna draw a little sigil. While I wait for, I don't know, anyone else to join us. I'm busy engineering a rebirth. Let me see. I need to find where I was busy. Very private, secret information here. I can't share it. Incriminating evidence. This is not right. Here we go. Okay. Hey Dre, welcome in. You'd like a reading? Okay. I guess I can do that. You got a question, Dre? There's no one else in the queue. I finished reading to everyone else, right? So I'm just gonna draw a tarot card for you then. Just pull one out and read it. 8 of Swords in reverse. Okay, so 8 is about adjustments, shifts, changes, and Swords is about those birds are very disruptive. Swords is about intellect, education, the realm of the mind. Okay, so what I'm getting from this card is like there are, like you're realizing you're gonna have to learn. Okay, so there's a specific kind of person who lives your dreams, who has your outcomes, who fulfills your goals. Someone with a certain amount of education, a certain amount of knowledge, certain amount of strategic prowess. And you have to make the changes to become that person. You have to let go of your old self and change into that person. But there are certain things you don't want to let go of, certain ways of doing things, certain thought patterns, certain beliefs you don't want to let go of. But it's important that you do. If you want to see your goals come into fruition and manifest, you're going to have to let go of the old self and the old lifestyle, the old beliefs. So in the present you are busy going through the changes. You're busy going through the shifts to go from who you have been into who you have to be in order to accomplish your goals, but you're still hanging on to certain aspects of the old self that are not serving your goals. And this card just wants to warn you that that will pull you back into, like, you will end up repeating cycles and repeating patterns if you don't let go of it. You're going to stay here, basically. You're not going to move into 9 and then into 10 completion unless you let go of those things, unless you let go of those things that don't serve your goals. Those beliefs, particularly to do with beliefs. Beliefs about yourself, beliefs about the people around you, and beliefs about the universe at large, the way it works. Okay, where was I? You're also on my YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. I see you've got like a profile picture of the moon on the side. Okay. 5M7. question. See you in a bit. Like, what makes it worthy of rebirth? What makes it worthy? Something along that line. What makes you worthy of life and what makes you worthy of death? There we go. Cool. Seven of Cups, the Aeon, Ten of Wands, Devil, the Mages. Okay, these are interesting cards. General about, debauchery, Seven of Cups. Overfilling the cups until the Amrita turns sour. Amrita being life-giving waters. Filling the cups so much that you start to take it for granted, basically. Very interesting. And the reason that this is being done is because it's something that is being avoiding about the emotion, something about how we feel inside, that we don't want to express through creativity, we don't want to let it out. So we do addictive things like watching TV or masturbating or doing other things to distract us, filling our cups until it starts to taste sour. And when it reaches that point, you know, when all of the pleasure can no longer distract you because it's lost its luster, then you have no choice except to face those feelings. And when you're facing them, if they're difficult, if they're painful, the only way to move through them is to express them creatively. That's about judgment. Not judgment, sorry, condemnation. It's about condemning each other, condemning one another. Like, oh, because you do this thing, you are a goblin king and you should be condemned to hell. Or because of this thing, you such and such and such. Condemnation instead of judgment. Judgment would be looking at others and be like, okay, that behavior is deconstructive. If I had to apply that in my life, it would result in ruin. So I'm going to shut that archetype and that behavior out of my life, out of my sphere, out of my mind. That's okay, that's righteous judgment. Condemnation is like because you do that behavior, you deserve X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to go out of my way to make sure you experience that. You need to be punished for that kind of behavior instead of I need to keep that behavior out of my life. A good example of this is something I've seen recently, like, I'm not going to name any names or go too deep into it, but there is a certain there's a certain community in Cape Town, and one of the men in that community is being accused of harassing women, and these women who are accusing him, like, they held like a meeting and they all confronted him, and they don't feel like it's good enough. They confronted him, they expressed themselves, but that's not enough. Now they're conspiring on what more they can do to hurt him. So what this card is saying here is that righteous judgment was when they confronted him and he took responsibility. He was like, I'm sorry that you guys got hurt this way, etc., etc. Sure, it could have been done better. He could have been more heartfelt in his apology, but that was enough for righteous judgment. That was enough for Sekhmet. Sekhmet wanted to be heard. The heart was hurt and injured and just wanted to be heard and expressed. And then you shut that frequency out of your life. You shut that person out of the community. Condemnation is where you're deciding what they deserve to experience. Like, now it's vengeance. It's not just about acknowledging you were wrong there. It's now about, I'm going to punish you for that. Ten of Wands. So I feel like 20 is why we are worthy of death. 10 of Wands is why we are worthy of life. 10 of Wands is saying that all the oppression is coming to a close. It's finished. All of the angry, aggressive energies from one mage to another is over. All of the fiery feelings, all of the oppression and aggression is finished. It's done. It's burned itself out. At the beginning, there were some negative intentions behind the foundation of the guild. Like, certain people who were involved in its foundation and its establishment wanted to vampirize from people, wanted to take from people. That's what created this strife. That's what created the oppression. There were certain people who were supremacist, who were involved in the foundation. But that's all gone full circle. It's finished now. Those of us who are here in the present, we get to decide what seeds get planted now. We can go and we can plant more aggression, more oppression, more supremacy, or we can plant creativity, healthy expression, passion, constructive intentions, equality, democracy, I dare say. I don't like the idea of sowing democracy, but there are some who are. Okay, and then we've got the outcomes as the devil and the mages in reverse. So the devil is talking to me about competition, constructive, healthy competition within groups, within the group, within the community, within the guild, where one mage will do really well. He will, I don't know, create something incredible, magnificent, mind-blowing, and it will make the rest of us mages feel inadequate. But we're not going to attack him like we used to, because he's thriving and doing well. Instead, we're going to let that inspire us, and we will take him on as competition. In our minds, we want to do better. We want to be better. And so we will channel all of our frustration, all of our inadequacy, all of it, everything, all the positive feelings, all the negative feelings, into doing better. Basically grinding off of each other. We don't want to acknowledge that that person has more or is doing more than we are. But we don't let it turn us bitter or angry. Instead, we let it drive us, become a motivating factor to become better, to do more, and be more. The Mages in Reverse talks about a lack of communication. So we'll just have to work with that for now. Hopefully we can turn that around in the future, but basically what that is saying is keeping our plans to ourselves. So all of us working individually. Now we should be working together as like a guild on collective, collaborative, co-creative projects. Instead we're going to be working privately in secret on our own projects so that we can wow everybody else when we finally let it out. And we show everyone what we've been doing this whole time. Wow! Boom! It's kind of a selfish thing. It's like we want the recognition for ourselves rather than sharing it. We could do more and be more if we work together, but we'll work with this for now. This is fine for now. 5M7. Pencil now. Here's a pencil. So straight line. Almost like an arrow. And this side can be like a heart. I like that. One comes off the side, like that. One goes through. Almost like a key. And let that one fork as well. Yes, that's good. Find the middle point between the two. Yes, we're in the middle. I'm going to use this in a video. I'm going to animate it. I'm going to have the centerpiece like throbbing, growing smaller and bigger, and the rings on the outside rotating in opposite directions. So what the fuck am I doing here? I need a triangle. I need a perfect triangle. Perfect triangle. also want to divide this guy into certain parts as well. I guess I can just use a rubber eraser. Just use an eraser. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I can get that eraser out of there somehow. Somehow. Okay, got it. Jesus. If I could draw straight lines from here to there, it would be pretty equal, I think. It's good enough. It's not off. It's good enough. The center, I wanted to divide the center one up into a lot more pieces. If we got 360 degrees, if I want to divide it into 36 parts to get 10. If I put a mark here at 0, and at 36, So yeah, the other day I was playing guitar and I was like recording it on my phone, and then I decided to listen to it, and while I was listening to it I played some drum, and then I recorded that too, added some vocal tracks, and it's fucking dope. And I put it together. I haven't exported the file yet, so it's not a finished product that I can share yet. It will be soon. Okay. Basically, I want to make lines. I want to make breaks in it at every one of these points. I've been watching The House of the Dragon as it comes out, because they're releasing it in parts. And I keep thinking about how phony it is. Like when we see the princess, they introduce one of the princesses to us, and she's like black first of all, with white hair. But what's phony about it is that her eyebrows are still black, even though her hair is like bleach white. Sure, she's a cameo role, we don't see her again, but yeah. Secondly, the king keeps cutting himself on the Iron Throne and getting infected. Now, I know what it's like to have flesh-eating bacteria rotting a part of your body. You stay in high temperature. You go into like a fever and you stay in it. You don't come out of it. As long as there's rot, you stay in that fever. So I feel like they really missed out on the opportunity to show us what the delirium of infection, especially in those days when they didn't have medicines and paracetamol and stuff like that. Because this dude is still walking around functioning. Sure, I did the same thing. I still went around and I functioned, lived life as if I didn't have a problem, just like the king does. But I was like delirious and doped up at the same time, doped up on painkillers and delirious from fever. And they don't really show us that part. Maybe they will still, maybe it's still coming. If so, I look forward to it. Yeah, so I'm going to animate this for that video. Like, I'm going to take a little short clip of myself playing the guitar, playing like the strings on both sides, a little clip of that side, little clip of this side. I'm going to animate the sigil. The outside ring will turn one way, the inner ring will turn the other way, and the sigil in the center will like throb, and it'll be like on screen for like 6 seconds. I've got a little 6-second clip of the Hanged Man, the card from the tarot. I hung him from a tree, literally the Hanged Man hanging from a tree by a thread, fluttering about in the wind. And I've got another, it's not really a sigil, it's more like a little, I don't even know what to call it. It's a little like diagram of a person. It's like a stick figure diagram. If you've played the game Morrowind, if you go into the temples of the Alm Sivi and you look at the shrines, they got like these little stick figure diagrams of the gods. So it's kind of something like that. It's a stick figure diagram of a fairy that I interact with, and like she's holding the moon in one hand and the sun in the other, a star in the other. So I want to animate the star and the moon to like, I want the moon to have the different, so it'll be the full moon in the center with the waxing and waning crescents on either side, and they will like swap over, and the sun will like grow and shrink and rotate. Hey Maximiliano, you want to ask a question? Sure. Give me a sec to ink all these markings I put on this page, and then I'll draw a card for you. And that is, you want to know about your career until the end of the year. You're from Argentina. Well, thank you for joining us all the way from Argentina. Great to have you here. I'd encourage you to subscribe because we do all kinds of cool things on this channel. So I'm doing 1 card readings for free. Oh, thank you for the sub. If you want more than 1 card, if you want 3 cards, you can send a tip of any amount. And then just a heads up, members, if you join my membership program, you'll get 6 card readings once per week. But you know, this is probably the first time we're meeting. Like, your name looks really familiar, but I feel like, thank you, there's the notification for the sub. But I feel like you should get a demonstration, right? I should demonstrate what I do here before I try and sell you a membership program, right? It makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to do that for you. I'll read for you now. And you want to know how I see your career until the end of the year. Okay. End of the year is not so far away. It's a 6 of Swords. So this is about expanding past your limitations. So I'm getting right now that you have been faced with certain intellectual limitations, limits on your experiences, limits on your education, your knowledge. That seems to be an obstacle in preventing you from expanding or thriving in your current career path. But 6 is about overcoming those limitations by interacting with new people, by making friends, by joining online groups, by reading books, you know, by connecting with other people. You learn from them and they learn from you. Like, there are the aspects of your education or your experience that are lacking that you can learn from the next person in the workplace, in the office, the person next to you. You can learn from them what you need, what you're missing from your paradigm, and they can learn from you, and vice versa. So this card is talking about overcoming those intellectual limits, particularly limits in education and knowledge, through relationship, through forming new connections, and through actually interacting with the people you already have connections with. So that's what the rest of the year is going to look like for you. It's looking like you catching up on whatever you're still missing, by following the example and learning from the example of those around you and those that you work with. Basically learning their skills and them learning your skills, just by hanging out together and working on projects together. Divine Lioness, welcome back. Good to see you again. You're curious if you'll find work from home job this year. This year is almost finished. But I will read for you anyway. Oh, jeez. So 2 of discs. Okay, so the deck wants to give you 3 cards. Divine Lioness. You're welcome, Maximiliano. Okay, so Queen of Discs here in the past. This one is talking about putting the security that you already have at risk by looking for greater things or better things on the horizon. Like hoping for even more than you already have. You've worked really hard to get the level of security that you have. It's saying that in the past you've had the habit of putting all of that stuff at risk while chasing something more. Always chasing something more to the point where you put what you already have at risk. So that card just says to you, take a moment to be grateful for everything you have already accomplished and everything you already have. The security and abundance that you do have, because at this point in time, at this point in society, if you have a job, you're pretty lucky. You're pretty fucking fortunate to have a form of income. Occupation is becoming more and more scarce by the day. 2 of discs in reverse here in the present, and that is saying that the opportunity to work from home is always available to you in every moment. It doesn't require that you give up on what you're already doing. You can start doing little things, like you can start whatever you have, whatever value you have to give, you can start giving it to people from the comfort of your home. You can start marketing on your social medias. If you're an artist, you can start drawing and sharing it and telling people that you're willing to sell. So basically what this card talks about is claiming the opportunities. It's like you look at the things that you have to offer and how you can start creating an income from home, and you start doing it, but you don't commit to it for very long. So you like plant the seed, it starts to sprout, and then you stop watering it and it dies. You plant a new seed and you wait for it to sprout, and then same thing. So this card is saying that the opportunity is there, you just have to commit to it. And it's going to be difficult, especially considering that you have other forms of work and other responsibilities to keep up with. But it's okay, as long as you're doing one constructive thing towards creating your home income, you will eventually get to that destination. Like you plant a fruit seed, you know it will eventually be a fruit seed, even if you can't harvest from it while it's still a sapling. You know it's one day going to be a fruit tree that you can harvest from. You just got to show up to water it and feed it. Number 5 here, this one is talking about having very few examples to follow. It's kind of saying to you, you're going to have to be your own example. Like there isn't anybody who can show you this is how you create a home work life, this is how you create an income from the home space. You have to pioneer it. Like I'm pioneering what I'm doing, tarot readings on the internet, magic through online circles. It's like I'm pioneering through it. There are other people who have done it, but there isn't anyone that I can be like, okay, you're an example, you can give me a step-by-step tutorial on how to succeed at this. I have to be my own example. And that's what this card says. It also says to you, don't try and push yourself don't try and push yourself further than you can go. Take small steps, little bits at a time is enough, it's good enough. Your life path number is 5. Okay. Well, 5 is talking about doing the best that you can with your limits. It's like, do the best that you can with your limits and don't try and push yourself past your limits. Thank you for joining me again today, Divine Lioness. It was good to see you and to see how things are going for you on the astral spheres, in the metaphysical world, in the symbolic world space. It's one of my favorite parts of doing tarot readings for people. Like, I didn't know it was going to be one of my favorite parts, but it has become. When I do a tarot reading, I get a little bit of insight into you and your life and who you are and what you're doing, and then to follow you, you know, when you come back for readings, to see what has changed, what has not changed. I enjoy it a lot. So glad to hear that. Thank you for your recognition. So I don't know if you heard me talking about what I'm doing here earlier, but basically I recorded a cool track the other day, and I'm going to animate this sigil. I'm going to have it like throbbing, growing and shrinking in the center. I'm going to have the center ring turning anti-clockwise and this exterior ring rotating the other way. It's also a spell. It's also meant to create rebirth. Slay the old, birth the new. And that's why I'm putting it in my video, because then, you know, a lot of people will see it, a lot of people will charge it. But I'm not going to charge it, not yet. So I'm introducing it into the collective subconscious right now by drawing it live on stream. And then I will send it directly to certain people. I'll create certain posts, and if people interact with the posts, I will send the sigil directly to them. Very ominous like, being like, you know what to do. And then I'll put it in the video. I've got a couple videos that I'm going to put it in. Once it's out there in the world and people have seen it and interacted with it, then I will charge it, then I'll awaken it basically. So it can lie dormant in our unconscious for a little while and spread before I activate it. I'm sure it can be tough at times to keep up with everyone. It can be, but I don't pressure myself too much. What concerns me most is monetizing, is like allowing this to actually support me physically and financially. That's what concerns me most of the time, is what I can change, what I can do better or differently that allows me to monetize the content. So I recently did something in that regard. I launched like a members only section with some perks. Members get access to classes, to group rituals and ceremony, and members get 6 card readings once per week. You can type !VIP to find out more about becoming a member. And I sell portrait sketches. I do commissions. And yeah, now I'm going to release an album as well. almost out of time. Almost done, so it's all good. Just trying to make all these lines a bit thicker, because I'm going to invert it. I want it to actually be white on black, so I'm going to turn it upside down. Inside out, inverted. Invert the colors. I should have divided this page in half, hey? So that I could use less space, take up less space. So this image that's in the center here, I just meditate for a moment, and I place myself in the location that I want to affect, where the people are that I want to affect, where the systems are that I want to affect. And then I have conversations and I make the changes, physically change things. Well, not physically, symbolically change things in my mind. Visualizing it, I'm basically astral projecting my consciousness into that space and then making the changes. And every time that I make a change, I put a mark on the page to represent that change taking effect in the physical world. Welcome, Alfane. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us. How you doing, bro? What's up? Doing well. Glad to hear it. Me, I'm doing good. Doing quite well, actually, like really good. Yeah, sometimes when I don't feel like I'm doing as well as I am, but you know, I need to just stay grateful stay grateful for all the blessings that do come into my life and all the power and all the energy that keeps getting poured out on me. It's easy to forget if I focus on all the things that I don't like about my life. It's easy to forget how well I'm actually doing. You want to join? Fantastic. So I'm doing 1 card free readings. If you want 3 cards, you got to send a tip of any amount, just letting you know. And I'd also encourage you to follow. I'm going to help you out in a sec. I'm just basically preparing a spell. The spell is finished. It's dormant. I haven't activated it. The spell is here in this symbol, and I want to spread this symbol, but before I activate the spell, spread it into the unconscious, spread it into groups, put it on some music videos, put it in some reels, spread it, get it into a lot of people's minds before I activate it. It's designed to bring rebirth, affect positive change on the unconscious. It was so synchronous because I was busy creating this spell and then the queen died and I was like, oh my god, death and rebirth. Queen of England, that is. Not the Queen of Sweden or anything else. Oh, thank you for marketing for me, Midnight. Midnight is sharing how to get VIP status. Okay, so do you have a question, Alphane, or should I just read generally? Okay, I'm just going to read generally. Knight of Cups. So that's also about rebirth. Knights are about rebirth. In this deck anyway. The Knights in other decks talk about other things, but in this deck the Knight is about rebirth. So the first thing about rebirth is that it's often quite painful because we have to let go of old lifestyles and old habits, and we have to completely let go of the old person that we used to be. Cups is to do with your expression, your emotional expression and your creative expression. So what this is talking to me here, Alphane, is about the way you interact with your emotions is going through a rebirth. Like you've been used to reacting. Someone does something nasty, you do something nasty back. Somebody does something positive, you do something positive back. But reacting, everything that comes in from the outside impacts you and you react to it. So the rebirth is that way of reacting to your emotions is now dying. Instead, you're learning to take deliberate creative action. That's the new rebirth, and it's more authentic to who you are, and more constructive and more healthy in your life at large. So what this looks like now is somebody is spiteful to you. You don't react. You just take it in. You feel those emotions well up, and you choose where you're going to put those emotions. You're like, I'm going to draw a picture of this guy hanging with these angry feelings, and so you do it, but you've done something constructive with the energy. It might be terrifying for that guy to witness, but you understand my point. Instead of doing something that sabotages you, or if you get reactive to someone being spiteful, you can do sabotage to your life, sabotage to your relationships. It can cause a lot of harm to react to things. But if you're taking a deliberate, constructive action, regardless of what you're feeling, channeling that into creative expression, you create, it does healthy things to your life, it does healthy things to your relationships. So that's what I'm getting out of this card, is you are going through that shift. That old person who reacted to your emotional experience is dying, and the person who takes those emotional experiences and does creative things with it is being born. And you're going through that right now. So I know it can be painful and frustrating and confusing to go through this kind of rebirth, but it brings you into a stronger, more authentic place. It's just it's very encouraging to see you going through that. I wish more people could go.